There it is, the Grand Palace. It's pretty easy to get there, nothing really in our way. 2 guards and then we could just walk on the electrified rails.
Relocation denied.
Look on the bright side. The pay is better here than anywhere else, and we get to do the job how we see. Nobody's pestering forms and procedures anymore. We collect the fees we want, and give out the beatings when they're needed.
I just don't want my kids growing up here. It's too dangerous.
Then reapply next month. The command staff changes constantly. New officers, new rules. And spread a few coins here and there among the officers.
To the surprise of exactly no one, the Grand Guard is corrupt and susceptible to bribery. For the most part we can just skip these 2 guys, but let's not leave anything to chance. Even with all the powers we have at our ability and the sleep darts and anything, this is something quite satisfying about a good old dropped knockout and a chokeout. It's kind of, I don't know, I do that a lot. I end up not really using all the power I have. You notice how rarely I use bend time, even though I've fully upgraded it. I do use it sometimes, and more than you've seen, because I use it while just running around choking everyone out sometimes, but for the most part, just the basic blink works out pretty well. Alright, we're good to go. We have a couple of more runes as well saved up, and we're going to get some more inside this area. And we'll eventually probably end up putting in Possession, which I'll try to use, just to show it off at least.
The palace. Maybe I can find another way to neutralize the Duke.
But how do you know which one is the Duke? I don't know where they found that guy with the political decoy job, but he looks and acts just like the Duke. I can't tell them apart.
There are subtle differences.
Alright. Assuming you can pick out Duke Luca, how are we gonna get his key?
You leave that to me. Who knows what he's got in that vault? We'll be halfway to Bristol and rich before he's nursing the next day's hangover.
That's a good plan, the way this place is run. You sure he always keeps the key with him?
I'm sure. We'll do it tomorrow night when there's only 1 squad scheduled for patrol. Just be ready.
So this is the initial plan. We need to hunt down this body double and need to hunt down the Duke himself. There are a couple of differences between the 2, even though they look exactly the same. We found out that one of them smokes, the other one doesn't. They both have keys on their belts, but they lead to different places. You can of course use the heart to listen to their thoughts, or you can just stand around and listen to when they talk to themselves. It's not impossible to find out which one is who. These 2 decide that laying on the ground is too pedestrian for them, so they're gonna hover. Which I guess we're cool with. I really like this level. It's more straightforward than most of the other ones. It's just a really large level with multiple floors, with a lot of NPCs and guards and things to deal with.
For looking at him wrong. The other might just bore you to death.
It's one of the more fun games to play Super Stealthy Sneaky Guy in. Challenging and fun. Not only are there tons of guards and stuff around, there's also a lot of civilians. The civilians, who will normally let you go for a bit, but if you stay around for a while, they'll shout and run for a guard.
Don't look so disappointed. It's not about merit. The inner circle is packed with the Duke's pets.
4th floor, Duke's chambers. There you go. There's a couple of clues around like that.
Exactly. And think, when all this fighting over thrones is settled, the Duke's going to need men to take charge in the Northern Isles. By this time next year, you could be in charge of Winddown. or Freeport.
Where even the most desirable have skin like pale slugs.
That's what the brandy's for.
There are multiple places both the Duke and the Duke's double can be, and they can be in the same place. You have different ways of trying to figure out who it is and where it is. There are notes, and you can overhear people talking and so on.
Yes, yes, yes!
It's a really cool level. It's not quite to the degree of Lady Boyle's Last Party from Dishonored 1, but it has a little bit of the same feel, like you don't quite know where your target is, and that is random every time you start the level. I'm gonna clear out this early area with guards, just because I sort of feel like it. Generally you can move around. There's a bit of a patrol, but not a lot. But with all the bone charms we have, we move quite fast now, and it feels really cool. Almost running at sprint speed while crouched or while carrying someone. It's pretty cool. I do want to get rid of these guys, though. I don't want to risk them going nibbling on our unconscious friends. There's a dog here. The difficulties with the dog is that they smell you, not just hear you or see you. So, play it safe, sleep dart them from range. This is body pile number 1. We might end up with multiple throughout the mission. So there are 4 floors to this. There's the initial reception area where people also eat. There's another area where you can hit the throne. There's a 3rd area for guests and the office. And the final area, which is the Duke's. We assume that's the Duke. It could be the double. But on the balcony, he has an audiograph.
When I first met with my inner circle, I saw nervous faces. Even the boldest were afraid, wondering if we'd live to see another feast. Now Serconis is ascendant, but this is a story that began long years before. I knew Delilah when I was only a boy, and even after she was lost, dead, and gone from the world, her memory burned in my mind. Until finally I began to hear her whispering, calling to me from the void. Telling her story of growing up in Dunwall Tower, and the half-sister who cheated her of her throne. Then she told me there was a way to bring her home. Delilah. Beautiful. Immortal.
You gotta be careful here, they see you through the door.
Wasteful expense. Wanton flesh.
And such terrible wines. At least he knew better than the Sertirian with
Joke if you want to. Our new Duke spends more in 1 month than his father spent in a year. Old Theodatus Abel was tied with the coin.
Why worry? When the war is done, we'll have it back tenfold in tribute. This is the Serconan age, my friend. The age of Luca Abelli. Enjoy it.
The old Duke.
The old Duke was wise. Yes, the old Duke was careful. But the new Duke dragged the Empress off her throne and gave us the Isles. So tell me, who's the better man?
The nobles, some of them like the Duke, some of them don't, but it's not like they can do a lot. Generally they live a life of leisure and no difficulties whatsoever, so why should they care that people are suffering? This is the guest room for Delilah. At the moment there are 2 servants walking around. We'll take those out. We can find the diary. And this one is definitely written in her tone, her voice. Yeah. You find a bone charm here. It's a corrupt one. It's lightweight, which I thought was the one that made you move faster, but took more damage. But it isn't, sadly. This is the one that makes you take less damage from falling, but reduces our health regeneration rate. It's kind of good still, but not really something we need to worry about at the moment. Just chomp down on some food if we want to. There's a lot of that, and we even have a bone charm to increase the amount we get from it. Let's make sure we deal with this one. Well, take a rest then. This is one of the places where you can run into either the Duke or his double. We run into none of them. This time around in particular, I had a bit of trouble finding the actual double. I had to search all around the place until I finally found him. First though, her face is my smile. Delilah made painting from when Emily was a kid.
Of course, the Duke kept some of the clockwork soldiers for himself.
Indeed. They can be dangerous, as always, but sneaky enough, and it's not that big of a deal. There's a servant and a guard here. If we take him out quiet enough, the robot won't awake.
The machine tell he's no good, just by looking at his shoes.
And the drop knockout, I guess we're calling it that, is quieter than it sounds, or quieter than it looks. It pretty much makes no sound, which is really good. Here's a blueprint, the blade conversion, going to be useful once we finally get to a black market shop to implement it. There's also a painting here on the right that I forget now, but I do remember before I actually leave the area. And here's something interesting.
Kieran, sir, we were confused by your most recent response. The Duke was, well, he was furious. He sent me to interview you about your progress.
One of the maids took me for a walk. We dug beetles in the park with shiny green shells.
I don't understand, Mr. Chendash. Working with Anton Sokolov, were you successful at lowering the cost of clockwork soldier production? The Duke is expecting a reduction of 80 to 90% based on your own estimates.
She let me keep a few of them in a jar. I pulled off their legs.
That's interesting. Let me remind you, as Grand Inventor, you've been given everything you requested. But with that comes a responsibility for deadlines, an expectation of progress.
Wait, I remember the undertaking you're talking about now. Yes.
Excellent. So what can I tell the Duke?
I had a visitor, I think. Or maybe they came for Sokolov. It's hard to recall the details. Anton wouldn't help, but I was close to finding a way to... The difference engine is inscribed in copper along the concave surface of the inner head mechanism. But wait. I can't. It slips away. The beetles we found today, I'm going to give them all names.
This is useless. What am I going to tell Duke Luca?
So that's what's happened to Kieran Jindosh. We get a safe code here. Later on we will go down to pick up some stuff from that safe. That's mostly what we can find in the office. Again, we could find the Duke or the double here, but nothing.
5 years than in all the years of my life before that. I know that much.
We'll go deal with that guy. As long as you keep it quiet, the robot won't wake up. And that is why we can't just smash the window here to grab this little ivory thing. That would very much awake the robot, so let's not. Now we know where the Duke is, so let's at least go talk. Not talk to him, but listen to him talk. Assuming, of course, this is the Duke.
Place of strange luck for me. My poor brother died there. But that's where I met Delilah.
Well, it sure sounds like the Duke. I'm gonna stay stealthy and make sure he doesn't see us.
I bet this opens the Duke's vault.
And he didn't see a thing.
Now we're connected. All these years later.
Before we leave, there's another thing I want to do in this place, and that's use the microphone to make a little bit of an announcement.
People of Karnaca, I am Corvo Attano, Royal Protector of the Empire, speaking to you from the Grand Palace itself. Today is a day of reckoning for Luca Abel, the Duke of Serkonos. No doubt you are surprised to hear from me, and it is likely that no one is more surprised than the Duke himself. It is my promise that one way or another, after today the leadership of the Grand Palace will be in alignment with the will of the Empire. As I move to restore Empress Emily Kaldwin to the throne, Duke Abel, you've been warned. I am coming. People of Karnaca, you will hear from me again.
You'd think he'd react a little bit stronger to that. He does react, and he does send a guard here, but... that bottle managed to grab his attention enough to just grab him. The Duke seems content to stay there, however. Be that as it may, we have the double to find. And he's not here, he's not in the office, he's not near the Delilah, he's not anywhere else we've seen so far, so he can either be in the throne room, or he can be in the garden. And here is the double. Since we found the Duke, we know this has to be the man. He's guarded by guards and the wolfhound that he's currently painting, and it can be a little bit tricky taking them out without scaring the double himself. I found sleep darts work the best way.
I'll help you look around.
Slowly luring them all to that direction while the Duke is not that worried.
Come on, let's have a look around. I thought I saw someone right here.
If he doesn't flat out see what's happening, he's usually fine as long as the noise isn't crazy. So 3 sleep darts later, we should be good. All the sleep darts back. Love Lucky Needle.
No offer to bow or kiss my hand.
I'm not that kind of
A
visitor.
mystery. Let's have it then. Who are you and what do you want?
You're the Duke's double, aren't you? I'm here to take him down, but I might need your help. Do you want to listen to what I have to say?
All right, you've figured it out. But if you're not here to assassinate the Duke, what do you want?
I have no doubt that you'd be a more agreeable Duke than Luca Abel. If I wanted to depose him without having to cut out his heart, could you convince people that you're the Duke?
That's bold, I have to admit it's crossed my mind. If people believed that I was actually Duke Abel, and that he was the political decoy, we could have him committed for lunacy. We could convince everyone that the double's finally lost his mind, and believes he's the Duke. I've spent years perfecting my performance. But there's a catch. He's got a medallion that I need. Even if I sound convincing, which should be the easy part, his Grand Guard officers will ask to see the medallion as proof. Luca never puts it aside.
All right. It shouldn't take me long. Once it's done, I'll be leaving the city. Soon after, I'll send instructions from Dunwall, and I'll expect a great deal of flexibility and cooperation on your part. There's still time to pull Serkonos back from the edge of the cliff. We can undo the damage Duke Abel has inflicted.
I'd like that. But I'll guide Serkonos in the ways I see fit for the people here, not as the hand-chosen puppet of your empire. If you agree with that, just render the Duke unconscious and bring him to his chambers. I'll handle the rest.
Waste my time with something like this.
Grab his stuff just in case.
I'd be wasting.
Don't raise an alarm. You've got to keep things calm for this to work. Honestly, if you would have killed Luca, the Grand Guard probably would have hung me anyway. There's so much that could be done from this palace. So many things that could be better. I never thought this would happen. It's exciting. But remember, to make this work, you've got to be stealthy. Get the Duke, bring him to his room, and be careful about it. Don't raise a ruckus.
Be stealthy, eh? That's my specialty. You get basically presented with the same conversation if you talk to the Duke or the Double, but obviously depending on who they are, they do different things based on what you decide to say to them. Luckily for us, he is already in his chamber, so we don't have to bring him anywhere. We just need to get to him and, well, knock him unconscious. And then let the fireworks begin. Alright, Luca. Let's finish this.
Whippings don't intimidate anyone these days. Faces and fingers, that's where to work. That's it then. Now it's up to me. I'll take the medallion and call them.
I'll be watching. Break a leg.
Don't worry. I've spent years mimicking this asshole. Captain Almeida, come at once to my chambers. There's a problem. Quick, hide up there. Yes, Captain. Please arrest this clown. Seems that he took his role a little too seriously. Get your hands off me! Work, man. He served me well for years. We'll never find anyone else who so bears my resemblance. Take him away, Captain, but be gentle.
I think I understand, Your Eminence. We'll handle it.
What? This is outrageous. I'll have you all skinned alive and set in a salt bath. If only there was something we could do for him. I suppose all those years pretending he was me, that eventually took its toll. No! Stop! I am the Duke of Serkonos! You can't do this!
Dr. Hypatia at Adamire will know what to do with the poor man.
It's a fairly satisfying end for a low chaos option. It reminds me a little bit of branding Overseer Campbell in Dishonored 1.
I'm still trying to get my head around this. It's incredible. It'll be dicey for a while because I may be missing a few details. As quickly as I can, I'll turn over the Palace Guard. That will help cover me. Once you're off for Dunwall, I'll wait for your messages. I'll need all the help I can get turning this around.
Hopefully, this will be a great preparation for the future. We're not done here yet, though. We've dealt with the Duke. Now we're after Delilah's spirit. There's 3 different ways you can get to this area. We're going this way. Because, in my opinion, it's the coolest. This is an arc pylon. That thing kills you if you get anywhere near.
Let's see what Duke Abel keeps hidden away in here.
So let's make sure it has no power.
The Duke's vault.
We got the key, so we can go straight in through the front entrance. Down there is the hidden passage we could have gone otherwise. There's also another way entirely I'll use as an exit once we leave. One final clockwork robot to deal with. Let's go for the stun mine. We can either put it on the ground or put it flat on him. Which I always found worked best.
This is the thing Ashworth made to hold Delilah's spirit.
This is it. You must release me from this dead vessel. Only then will you be able to track Delilah's spirit.
Jessamine, your spirit comforts me. How can I let you go?
I've given you all I can, my love. Tried to guide you. Now our daughter will lead you.
Be at peace, my dear Empress. Star of my sky.
Your eyes, your hands, your heart. With my last thought.
Goodbye, Jessamine. And now to fill up the heart with a different kind of spirit.
But it's done. Now it's time to return to Miles.
Was this the heart of my half-sister? Only her flesh remains.
I wonder if it was even really alive.
Destiny is gone at last, faded into nothing. Her reward is peace.
You will never gain back what you lost here.
Some kind of decorative animal.
She gave you her heart, and you threw it into the void. I inhabit two impossible places at once. The prison of dead flesh, after a prison of bones. You will take me back and die at my hands.
The gazelle broken souvenir thing is what Megan used to kill the Duke's brother all those years ago. He kept it around. Blueprint, always useful. This is the other side of the vault. We could have gone here through another way. This is where he planned some of his things. Probably with members of the inner circle. And here, of course, his shrine.
Delilah Copperspoon.
To Delilah. We could have gotten in here from this way. Through the hidden pantry that Stilton told us about. It is guarded, however, and there's no real reason for us to go there right now. But here... it's a different path altogether. This abandoned basement has been flooded long ago. And you can find your way in and out. And find a rune while you're at it. Even some extra raw whalebone, because why not? All you really need to deal with is, well, blood flies. Because there's always blood flies. I hate it when I accidentally shoot one of the flies with a bolt rather than a nest. So that was 4 of the bolts, but again, they're fairly cheap to buy and we find them around. What are they for except not to use them, you know? I make that mistake a lot, just sort of never use them because I want to save them. And then, what's the point? Either way, we are now done here. And we can finally go meet with Megan and get the hell out of here.
That should do it.
Once we get here, I guess we do some sort of signal and she comes to find us. There's runes and bone charms and treasures and paintings all over the place, which I've of course gone around and collected. But we're done. We've done what we needed to do with the Grand Palace. We're going to leave, and then there's only one way to go. We have Delilah's spirit in our hand. It is time to return to Dunwall Tower.
So, is that it? The fall of Karnaca?
The Duke's had a change of heart. Things are shifting.
Back to the dreadful whale, then, and on toward Dunwall.
It looks that way. To find a way to help Emily, and to give her back the throne.
Ready, then?
Come on, let's leave this place.
All right. As you want.